Hello, hi, hi. Welcome back to another Middle-earth strategy battle game video on the Solid Guards. Another little sit and chat one. It's Tom here. Hi.
And Curtis, back again.
And Lee, hello.
Hi. So we're just going to have a quick recap of day 2 of the LGT. I know it's been a few days. We were just waiting for final results and things to be confirmed. We're missing Daniel. Unfortunately, he's been feeling a bit poorly since the event. It's not COVID. We've had him tested. It's all right. Don't worry. He's just got a bit coldy and a bit of sore throat. So instead of coming on and sitting here for like an hour and talking, he's just gone to bed. Bless him. But he sent us a nice long message about how his games have gone. So don't worry if you played Daniel. We are still going to get you. It's all right. So I guess let's jump straight in, shall we? Just crack on with it.
Absolutely.
But actually, Lee, what are you painting, mate?
Goat Riders for Iron Hills.
Is this another repaint or is it fresh paint?
Yeah, well, this is fresh paint. This is a new Goat Rider.
Oh,
Because I only had like one normal Goat Rider because I used the rest for conversions, so I needed it anyway.
Nice.
very nice.
Cool.
Look forward to seeing those on the table.
Yeah. I don't actually.
Oh, I love them. They're overpriced, but they're great fun.
They are really fun to watch play on the table. Not to play against. So, day 2, game 4. Start of game 2. It was Fog of War.
No, it wasn't.
Quick recap for anyone who missed it. We're up to 600 points now. It's an escalation thing.
It wasn't Fog of War.
What?
It was Recon.
Oh yeah, I folded it over, didn't I? Right, hang on.
Fog of War.
Where's Recon? There it is. Recon. Here you go.
I wasn't there.
Game 4 was Recon. I should know that because it was better. It's because I had spoilers. I had the same opponent, so in my notes are just written down the same bloke, so it's all right. So reconnoiter. How do you pronounce it, Curtis?
So in like my friends who play, we've always called it like reconnoiter, but I've got no idea how it's said.
Okay, we're gonna go with Recon.
Recon.
For those that don't know, Recon's the one where you just got to yeet models off the table, basically. Get as many models off the table as you can. If you get more than your opponent, you win. Basically, that's the game. They move on in that maelstrom deployment thing. So you get 4, 5, 6. They come on first turn, and then the next turn you roll, but you get +1. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you might end up with like half your models on the table turn 1. So I was playing Alex May. A lot of people might know his brother, Rowan May. He's a regular at the tournament scene. All of Alex's models were Rowan's. He hadn't played an awful lot, but he had a really cool Khazad Doom list. So at 600 points, he had the King's Champion and Durin, and a whole bunch of Half Guard and a lot of Vault Warden teams. Very solid defensive list, not great at running across a table. I'm still using my Goblin Town, but I've also got the Spider Queen and the Bat Swarm in there as well. Lots of people fairly effective at running off a table with a Spider Queen and the Bat Swarms. So I double marched turn 1. Well, turn 2 once models on the table. So my captains popped as many marches as I could, basically. I called four marches over the course of this game. Just yeeting myself across the table. Really, really desperately wanted to be like up past halfway before we engaged. I've played Lee a few times with his dwarfs on Reconnoiter, and one of the things that I've learned is that if you can engage dwarfs high up on the table, they stand a fairly low chance of getting off the table because, yeah, they'll cut through you, but by the time they've cut through you, their little stumpy legs won't get off. So I pushed right up onto the middle, ran the Spider Queen across, used some difficult terrain to like just cut straight through where his dwarfs couldn't get to me, spawned her broodlings, chucked them off the table, chucked the bat off the table. So I've got 4 models off the table, and then went, right, let's fight. And he didn't make it past halfway before I was 25%ed, which ends the game. So he got the points of breaking me, but I had 7 models of 4 models of tables. So I got 7 points for that. So, I mean, it's a fairly tough thing to deal with. Is those spiders and bats at recon, isn't it, Lee?
Yeah, especially as dwarfs.
Yeah,
You
Good chat.
basically got to try and stop you from getting all of them. Like, yeah, if you get, it's bad.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the Spider Queen can, because I did a march with her to turn, so she marched with the captain next to her marched, so she went 15 inches, spawned 3 broodlings within 3 inches of her, and then they moved 10 inches off the
That's
table.
what, 25 inches?
28
It's dumb.
in one turn.
I'm just saying it. It's dumb.
Yeah. But, you know, that's the Spider Queen.
We'll play
That's
it.
why we bring her. Because she came on like late in my recon rolls, which is irritating, but that's why I had to march her off and slingshot her because she was behind the captain. But yeah. Cool. Curtis, how did your game of Reconnoiter go? Who was your opponent?
So my opponent was Daniel. Daniel from the previous call, who unfortunately couldn't join us today. Yeah, we were paired up because we were both on 3 losses from day one. So it was a big game. Like whoever won this was on the board, and so Daniel had his Khazad-dûm list, and at 600 points he had Durin and Mardin, bunch of dwarves, mixture of Hearthguard and Vault Wardens. A couple of bows, not too many bows. I think he just had the 2 at this stage. I've of course got Kamal on Fell Beast. I've got a number of Morgul Knights and Wild Riders. So for Recon, I was thinking, I've got the pace here. I've got the speed. He's got dwarves. But we're on a fairly open table. And Daniel gets on, well, first turn, second turn, he just essentially lines everyone up. He's got this like perfect line. He's essentially saying to me, you can't get, like, I'm going to slow you down somehow, like wherever you hit my line. And then I'll try and bring everyone to where the fight is and kill you off that way. I get Kamal on straight away. I get my Ring Wraith on straight away. So I've got my Morgul Knights on, but I don't get my Orc Captain on, who's got the Wild Riders, which is really the source of March. So I don't march straight away. He eventually comes on. Turn 3, I get a march up, and we do engage in his half. I'm thinking, pretty good. I think I make the fatal error of choosing to engage his half guard because I'm like, it's the thinnest line. He's really spread it out. Not many half guard are getting the benefit of his banner. I've got so much maneuverability. I can choose where I hit the line. I think they're going to be easier to kill 1 or 2 with the Fell Beast, create a hole. What I really should have done probably is go for the Vault Wardens because they don't have bodyguard. And my point scorers all cause terror. My Morgul Knights and the Fell Beast. If I just sort of hit the flank with the Vault Wardens and then let the Morgul Knights sort of be only engaged once or twice or whatever, or not even at all, and then they had a free run. But I made the mistake. The lines clashed, and in some, it was a close game, really good game. I got 1 model off the board, and because we were so far up the board, like you're saying there, Daniel managed to get a few guys sort of going towards the edge, but before the game ended, unfortunately, they just couldn't get close enough. I had some alt trackers which were doing shuffle all game. I think they eventually killed one of his bows, but they were a nice little roadblock for Mardin and his mate who were coming down the table to score points. But it all came down to the final roll of the game. I was broken, definitely broken, easy peasy. The timer had gone. I got 1 warg off. I nearly got a second warg off, but he failed his courage test before he could attempt to move off. And Daniel, in the last few sets of combats, is 1 model off breaking. He's got the leader kill. Of course, Kamal died. Kamal dies in every battle I use him. Durin managed to heroic combat into him from where he was. I offered up my banner. I showed my banner as a juicy little target. Wasn't juicy enough. Durin goes straight into the Fell Beast. We both strike up. Oh no, I strike up, but with my dice, and Durin and a bunch of Hearthguard absolutely mash him. And then it comes down to the final few. Like I said, I'm broken. I'm in a combat with a single shield. I've got a single Morannon. I win the combat. Of course, he's -1. First roll, get a 6. Second roll, need a 4. So on a 50% chance, I break him, and I would have won 4-3. If I don't break him, he wins 5-3.
Oh.
I roll a 2, don't I? On a 50-50, I would have won that game. So it was really, really close. Of course, he got the break and the leader kill. I got a guy off the board, but couldn't quite break him. But no, it was a good game. Daniel moved on with a narrow victory, but at least he's got a W next to his name. And I went hurtling back down to the bottom tables where I belong.
Curtis, was it a Warg or a Warg Rider you got off the table?
Warg Rider.
Just out of curiosity.
I know what you're going to say.
Did you try the thing?
No, I didn't. I didn't even try it. I should have dismounted because I still had my army bonus because he had like so few models than me still at this stage.
Yeah.
So I would, again, it was more likely than not the Warg would have stayed, and I would have had 2 models. And what's the VP difference on 2 models compared
5
to
then instead of 3?
5. It's quite big.
You get +2.
And we would have drawn 5-all.
Yeah. So for anyone not sure of what we're chatting about, because Warg Riders, when you dismount, the Warg stays around on a courage test. Being Mordor, you get a +1 to that courage test because you've got more models at the table than the other guy. So it's going to be courage free. So you need a 7 on 2 dice. So it's distinctly average. It's like a 50-50 chance you're going to get a second model. So if you run the Warg up to right by the table, dismount, there's a 50-50 chance you get a second model to run off the board. And they both count. So now you've got 2 models off to 0 rather than 1 model off to 0. So yeah, that's a thing. What's up, Lee?
Just quickly, so I saw a post by Ali King a couple of days ago, I think, or comment on someone's thing about dwarfs, about Khazad dwarfs. It's a shame Daniel's not here because I wanted to rack his brain about it. Basically, Ali said, if you're doing Max Hearthguard, basically you're doing it wrong. That's like a beginner mode. Because you lose out, well, the way Ali plays dwarfs and the way I like to, because I copy him because he's good, you spam dwarfs rather than like go elite, you spam them.
Yeah.
So because the Hearthguard are such more expensive, he basically says go the other way and spam dwarfs rather than go for them. So it'd be interesting to see if Daniel got his worth out of them.
I've got a friend in my school social group who I've played with for years. He's always been a fan of the spam dwarves purely because, especially if you've got a front line of dwarves with shields, they're defense 7 and you can get 2 dice from them. He's always been a big fan of hammer and anviling it with dwarves, even though they're so slow. He has he plays Balin. He'll have Balin in the middle of his line. He'll have one half of his line shielding while the other half of his line is killing, and then that line slowly meets the shielding line. And because the killing line will lose a few, the shielding line probably won't. They slowly join the others and feed the killing line.
Yeah, just because going by the messages that he was sending throughout the weekend, it always seemed like the Hearthguard were never really pulling their weight. It was either they all died or I lost too many, and it would just be interesting.
What I noticed was they are so dependent on the banner. So at 600 points, he did have 2 banners. But one of the early moves I did, because he'd engaged with his whole front line, similar to what you did against me, Lee, you saw that the banner couldn't be passed off to anyone because they were all in combat. I just black darted it. My second ring wraith black darted the banner, and that really hurt the Hearthguard on that sort of side. He needed to get Durin and the other banner back over there, which probably then weakened sort of the middle. I think he could have won by a lot more and got further, maybe got models off the table if he'd managed to keep those 2 banners alive.
One of the things, because the guy I was playing against had a fairly similar list. He had the King's Champion instead of Mardin, but lots of Hearthguards and then Vault Warden teams as well. One of the things I noticed playing him was that. I mean, I wasn't killing many of them because it's Hearthguard and I had Goblin Town, but the few that I was killing, I got him very close to breaking just through Goblin King beating stuff up. And all you had to do was kill 1 or 2 a turn, and that 1 or 2, because your numbers are so low.
Yeah.
Also slow, like real slow.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he had March, but...
Yeah,
Or
Daniel
just like-
didn't have March because he had the two named heroes. I think Balin is the only named hero with March in the dwarf list.
See, I very rarely use March as dwarfs.
Really? I suppose you
Very,
castle a bit more, don't you? You don't.
well, I spam more dudes,
yeah.
so you're less relying on it. But yeah, genuinely, very very rare do I march.
See, I put my goblins 4 or 5 deep as well, so he had to like cut through as many, like just cut through the straight line,
Which is
So-
really hard for dwarfs because you want to row a combat pass.
I talked to him about it afterwards, about how you know, once you can see an opening, if you pop a heroic combat there, you can use it to slingshot your way across, which is a great way of moving dwarfs. Then you get an extra 5 rather than the 3 that you get from the march. So it's actually more effective. But yeah. Anyway, before we talk about one game for 2 hours,
Sorry.
it's all right. No, it's good. It's good. I like it. It's just I'm conscious of everyone's time. Game 2 on day 2, sorry, was Breakthrough. Yeah, I got that one right.
Yeah, you got that one right.
Yeah,
You got
there
that
we
one
go.
right.
Breakthrough is one of my favorite scenarios.
I think it's just one of the best ones. And after the game, I didn't speak to anyone who didn't enjoy their game. The scenario
It's
is
just
made for it.
if you were to say, I'm going to play a war game, Breakthrough is exactly what I would design you as a mission, because I've got to defend my base a little bit. So we'll go through what Breakthrough is for everyone first.
Thank you.
So Breakthrough is you've got your 4 objectives in a kind of diamond shape. So you've got 1 that's your home base, 2 on a center line, and 1 that's in the enemy territory, essentially. And you get lots of points taking the enemy one, some for taking the middle ones, and not very much for defending your own, and then points of breaking and leader kills. But what it means is that essentially you've got to defend your home turf, scrap over the middle, and if you can, push right through to your end. So you start getting lots of like flanking maneuvers and things where you're trying to push around to the other objective. I was playing Boris from Badminton Cafe.
Yeah, I've not met him personally, but he's piped up on the chat.
I met him at Barrador. He was at Barrador when we played there as well. Yeah. So I've met him again here. Finally got to play him. He had a really, really pretty fiefdoms list. So we're up at 800 points now. So he had Imrahil, a bunch of knights, a foot phalanx with men at arms and foot knights. Dwin here and a fat block of Black Reveal archers, and then Forlong running around on a horse being a mad lad.
That's your wet dream, right?
What's that?
That's your wet dream, right?
Yeah, I said this to him as soon as he turned up. I was like, I love that army. And then he said, yeah, I watched you playing the game against the Mori guys and stuff. And we talked about that stuff. So that's quite cool. Really nice game. My favorite game in the tournament, this one. And he said it was the same. So I think we both voted for each other for like best sporting and stuff as well, which was really fun. We just in general had a really good game. He hadn't really encountered much Goblin Town, which was a theme across the day. A lot of people said they hadn't played it much before. I don't know. I don't see it much outside of myself and Zahir, to be fair. I don't see many other people running it at events and stuff, probably because there's just so many models, you know. It's a bit of a pain. But anyway, Breakthrough. So I deploy that right up on the center. I'm going to push right through is my aim. I'm just going to stop him drowning in bodies so he can't go over. We're playing on a table with a river running through the middle of it and a couple of bridges. It's the same table I played Caesar Prize on day 1. That really wasn't a great table for me because I've got so many models. At 800 points, I've got 69 models. And there's 2 little bridges and the rest of the time it's a river. So it forces me into bottlenecks already, which I'm not happy about. So I basically shove everything up across the bridges. I start going up. I put the king, the spider queen, and a whole load of gobos on one side. So naturally what he does is go, right, Imrahil's going the other way. Because there's just Grinner and a couple of captains over there. They're rubbish. Someone has never met Grinner before. So Grinner ran into Imrahil. Grinner heroic strikes. He goes, it's fine. Grinner's only fight 3 with heroic strike. He'll be all right. So he goes up to a higher fight value than Imrahil does. Proceeds to win the combat against Imrahil. He then uses might to win the fight. So he uses a couple of Imrahil's might to win the fight because he's down panicking about losing his horse. Turn 2, I think this is, which is, understandable. So he uses his might there, and I'm like, I should just struck, but it's by the by. So Imrahil survives, fails to kill Grinner because Grinner charged him, so he's only got a couple of attacks and that's the lance bonus. Next turn, call a heroic move with the captain next to him, send Grinner back in, do a heroic strike again. This time he calls it. Now Imrahil's out of might. Imrahil wins the combat, fails to kill Grinner again. Next turn comes around, captain calls a heroic move. Imrahil's out of might. I throw Grinner back in there again, heroic strike up again, finally win the fight, fail to kill the horse, which I'm quite sad about. But basically, little Grinner there has taken all his might off of Imrahil. While he's doing that, I've snuck the Spider Queen rounds, and as soon as Grinner and his chaps are out of the way, Spider Queen goes straight into Imrahil. I was sat there like, this is great, I'll smash this. Spider Queen does a heroic strike, rolls a 1. Now she's the same fight as Imrahil.
Is she base 5 or base 6?
Base 6.
Wait, isn't Imrahil only 6? Or is he 7?
Maybe 6. Either way, she completely ruined it.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember, but no, she didn't. She rolled 2 1s and a 2 in the combat. That's what she did. She went in, he was a sitting duck, she failed to win him, and then he promptly killed her. Just 3, 2, 5, 5, 6 or something in the return strikes. Just straight up dead Spider Queen.
Yeah, wrecked.
And I was like, wow, I thought I just played an absolute blinder there. Turns out I hadn't. But we're getting pretty close to time. The mercenaries came in when I didn't really want them to. They came in slightly too early. So they ended up kind of just shoring up my middle line instead of taking the back objective, which was my plan the whole time. But the king and the warband that was left over with him had pushed round across the other bridge, broken through the guys that were left to defend there, and then got to that end objective. Unfortunately, he had one more dude than I did there, despite me calling heroic combat to the king, got him, and the captain over there. So it ended up in a 3-1 loss to me, as far as 1-3-1. But yeah, super tight game. Came
So
right
you
down to
lost
the last
3-1.
turn. Pardon?
You lost 3-1.
I lost 3-1, yeah.
So
I had my objective. I had goblins on one side, but they all ran away because I was broken. So I lost that one. I heroic combated a bat across onto the other objective so that he only got 1 point rather than 2 points. Because he was like, what are you doing? You get more for double. And I was like, no, you don't. You get more for having lots of models and no enemy models.
Yeah.
So I got that one by doing that. But I was one off getting his base, basically. And if I was one more model, which probably should have been the bat, but that would have just tied it rather than. So I needed to get 2 more models, really.
Sure.
But yeah. Because that was the other thing. The Spider Queen died before she could pop her babies out.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically came down to 1 or 2 models, was really tight, great fun game, loved it, had a laugh. How did you get on?
So I was I was rocking the bottom table with no wins, 4 losses. Fortunately, I was against an opponent who was in the same position, so we were both smiling at the start. We were both happy to be on 800 points by now because it meant we could play with all our toys. So I was against David Mashford, so really nice guy. I don't think he's super experienced in the Middle Earth scene. Sounds like he plays. Is it Warcry or something, or Kill Team? One of the smaller skirmish of the other systems.
Game,
yeah. He had a list here, so he was playing Gondor. So at 800 points, he had Gandalf the White. He had Faramir with heavy armor on horse. And a captain, and then he had about 8 or 9 Minas Tirith knights with their lances, etc. He had a bunch of rangers, and he had a bunch of warriors with swords and shields, and warriors with spears. And Of course, at this point, I've added my Troll Chieftain. So I've got a Troll Chieftain, Camul, Ring Wraith, bunch of Orcs, Morgul Knights, etc. I deploy first. I deploy right on the line. Just go straight in with the Troll. I put the Troll right on there, contesting one of the middle objectives. And I think that sort of threw David off at the start. And he's clearly a bit hesitant. He puts his first warband. Sort of, there's a bit of a hill, and he wants his rangers on there, and it's Faramir's warband, but he also doesn't want them Faramir's warband in sort of too close to the Troll. But unfortunately, he didn't deploy them 6 inches away from the center. So sorry, the center line. So they were still. My next warband then came in. I went straight in with Camul's. And he has a bunch of like Black Numenorians in his, and I just put them bang on within charge distance of them. At that point, it's almost like I think he feels like maybe that's lost. Maybe I should compete for the other objectives. He puts a warband a bit further back on his home base, and then Gandalf's. Oh, he also has Pippin. He has Pippin in Gandalf's warband. They're sort of over to the other side on the other side of the board, almost as if they were going to go for that the center. I've just gone completely hard on that one side to try and. My view is right. I'm going to take out Faramir's warband, take out Faramir. Faramir is his leader, and then hopefully I can push on, engage the rest, but then get models on his.
How is Faramir his leader with Gandalf the White on the table?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. He said Faramir was his leader.
Because Gandalf the White is definitely his leader with Faramir.
Is Gandalf a hero of legend?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's a hero of
Oh
legend.
yeah,
he is.
Gandalf should have been his leader because
Because
Faramir
he
is
goes
Valor, isn't he?
in Valor in Hobbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gandalf absolutely should have been his leader. Well, actually, I don't think it matters because I didn't kill either of them. Is the sum of the story, but it is looking good for me. I charge Faramir's warband. Faramir is stuck between a wall and his warband, so he can't get anywhere. And I've absolutely circled this. I don't have with my first lot of combat, but I've got enough models there. I've got Morgul Knights charging the side. Go on, what are you about to say?
Gandalf's a hero of valor.
Oh, Faramir's legit the leader. Fair enough.
Yeah, because you can there's only one legend per list, isn't there, in Aragorn Kings?
Yeah, that'll be it.
Yeah. Cool.
So yes, no, Faramir legit is leader. Because
that's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, I can understand slightly. I don't know, maybe not, maybe I can't. But yeah, I keep that warband down. I use Camul to hit the Rangers, so the Rangers aren't getting their shots off. First combat, 2 Rangers. I've charged. I rolled 3 high. His Rangers get 5s or something, or they might have even rolled a 6. I don't know. But either way, I wasn't miting it up. And he takes both fate off of Camul. Doesn't kill him. Thank goodness. Doesn't kill him. Meanwhile, the whole game, Gandalf is throwing banish at him. Like banish. And that's sort of, I think, distracting David, because at this moment, I'm also munching through that one warband while his other warband is taking ages to get in, and I'm just going hard on it. Eventually the horses charge in, but then I get my troll into the side of them. I hurl one of the horses, get Gandalf off Shadowfax. At this point, I'm happy as Larry. It's all going my way. And then Gandalf rolls another banish. It must be the 3rd time he's tried to banish Camul. Camul's had 2 combats at this stage. He rolls a 4. If you've got 6 will left with Camul, and you've got 1 might, so he rolls a 5. He rolls a 5 because I needed to roll a 4 to get them to might it up. How many will do you throw to resist that banish, knowing that you will die because you've got no fate?
Most
4.
of it.
4. See, everyone has said this to me. I thought 3 was enough. I thought 3 is a good amount of dice to roll, knowing I've got 1 might.
I would have said 3, but because of the way you were describing it, 3 probably wasn't correct. So I went a bit high.
I was going to go 3-4, 3-4.
Yeah, I rolled a 3 high, so I didn't have the might to resist it on the 5, and that was Camul gone. This is 5 games now. Camul has not lasted more than a couple of turns of combat. But fortunately, the Troll Chieftain is doing his work. I pretty much finish off Faramir's warband, apart from Faramir, who seems to survive on. His other warband is now in clashing with me. I've got most of the horses off their horses and killed what's left. Gandalf's very low on will on this stage, and I've still got a fair bit of might. The Troll is absolutely mincing people. And then in the second to last turn, I managed to pull a heroic combat off just a regular dude with the Troll, and the Troll then gets onto his base. So I get his base for 4 points. I've got my own base, and I've got more models around the middle one. He's got more models around the other middle one with Pippin and a couple of archers, and he's got the leader kill. So I think it finishes 9-5 or 9-4. I think 9-4 it finished. 2 points for the leader kill, 2 points for the middle base. I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I get 2 for breaking him. So I get my first win. Pretty chuffed with that.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that sounds like a lot, doesn't it? It's so one of the things that I found as soon as we hit up to 800 points, if you're not used to playing at 800 points, there's an awful lot to remember, and you can't just focus on one little thing. So I saw it like on a couple of tables around us as well. Like you're saying with Gandalf, focusing on Gandalf trying to banish and not necessarily worrying about what this warband over here is doing. I made a couple of slips in judgment when I was moving some guys around because I wasn't thinking about. I was like, so that needs to do that. And I was like, actually, if I did that, I could do it. And Boris moved a guy across, but if he moved him the turn before, he would have got to the other objective and taken that off me. There's little things like you would spot that in a small points game because you've got a lot less moving parts. But getting up to, so between me and Boris, we had 150 something models on the table by the end of the game. Because it went to time. I was broken, but I was bringing in a whole bunch with the scribe. And he had a whole bunch of models here. So yeah, we had almost 150 models on the table at the end of the game. There's just so much going on.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I
the end of
think
the game.
that definitely played into my benefit in that I've got enough toys that if one of them fails at 800 points, so the Troll Chieftain pretty much did all the work in that game in terms of killing troops, positionally moving on to objectives, because everything else was focused on Kamul. Whereas in the previous games, when all I had was Kamul died, I was done.
Yeah, it's that classic, like just having so much redundancy in your list.
Yeah.
That's why I brought 16 might in my list.
Yeah, that's nice, isn't it?
Just because I can, basically, and it meant that I was constantly doing heroic moves, and I outmighted everyone at 800 points. But I played against just because I was like, I'm going to call heroic moves, and eventually you have to counter them if you want to get your cavalry charges and things like that, and it just ends up working so much. Then you've got the Spider Queen and the Bat and the Goblins King that they've got to deal with because they're both huge threats, and you just can't deal with both of them in theory.
Yeah,
if the Spider Queen turns up. But Daniel, who messaged me, he was playing Ernest Appleby. So Ernest had brought Azog's Hunters and Azog's Legion together. So he had Big Bad Azog on his Big Bad Warg running around. He'd also allied in the Dark Powers. So he had some Mirkwood spiders in there.
Yeah, real creepy spiders.
Really creepily painted looking spiders.
Yeah. They were on the table next to me, and I played Ernest at Lords of the West Midlands. They're really, really, really creepy, really nice.
But basically, Azog and the spiders killed Daniel's heroes, and then the bats went and got objectives, and Azog just ran rampant, according to Daniel, which is pretty much how you see that game going.
Azog loves fighting Durin because Durin is the highest defense apart from Sauron in the game of heroes, but Azog just doesn't care.
It's a tricky one with dwarves, like Azog and Bolg, because generally with dwarves you rely a lot on like good cheap heroes, which dwarf heroes are normally cheap for their cost, but they're really good.
Yeah.
And then if your heroes are just dying to Azog and Bolg, you're behind massively. You need those heroes to catch you up. If you're on map, at a disadvantage because of the low movement, and they kind of catch you up a bit.
Basically, it's why so many good lists drop Bats, Crebain, like bat swarms and warbats, Crebain, and anything with the fly keyword in it.
Yes.
If it can fly, drop it in your list. If you have
Yeah.
access to something that can fly, bring 1 or 2 of them.
Being able to move over models is massive.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Those bat swarms, because what I was doing with my bat swarms in some of the games was just dropping them behind the line. So the goblins hit the front, the bat swarms dropped in behind. Now I've got traps on you. Now I can kill you.
Yeah.
Like, it's just traps in games. That most of them are 4 wounds. So you pick someone like a big hitter, like a Durin, say, and you just chuck a bat into it. You can't kill it in 1 turn.
No.
So now he's out of the game for a turn, and then he's got another turn. He might not kill it all like completely, and you can just slow big, like decent heroes down by just throwing these big 4 wound models or big bases that just don't care into them. You can
Which
jump
are
over the
relatively
back
cheap,
lines.
right? For the number of wounds, like a bat swarm is like 25, 35 points.
35 bat swarm.
35, yeah.
Cheap.
It's
Oh,
Crebain.
yeah.
Crebain are the ones, man. They're like 20 points and
Yeah, they're 20
wounds, and
points.
you can't shoot them. Like you can only hit them on a 6.
Crebain, they don't half fight values, though, do they? They don't have that.
No, they don't have that, but they are just good, just really good. But yeah, before we digress too much, I guess we should do game 6.
Game 6.
Game 6.
So
So going into game 6.
If you haven't worked it out, this is in pool 6, so it's one of the specials.
Yeah, it's my favorite. So game 6, I'm on 2 wins, 1 draw, and a loss. So 1 draw and 2 losses. Sorry. So I'm really hoping for a draw in this one, just to be really pretty. 2-2-2 going into it. Make me really happy. I'm playing Alex May again. And the story is Fog of War. This is what I started saying at the start of the thing. So for most people, a lot of big tournaments, final games, always just, if you played them before, play them again. The rest of the rounds, they normally care about that kind of thing. But in the final game, to get the most true standings, you just play whoever you're next to, basically. Otherwise, you'll end up with like someone playing off. So playing Alex again, we're playing Fog of War. We're on a board with a really congested middle. There's about 2 passageways down the middle, and they're both about 4 goblins wide. That's it. That's the only way across the table. So Fog of War is the one where you got to pick a train piece, pick a dude to kill, pick a guy to defend, and then break your opponent. Right? That's the 4. And you get 3 points if you can achieve those things, basically.
Is it the only one where you can just do whatever you like with your leader? Yeah,
no leader kill points. Which I'm not sure if he knew or not, but I tried to use that to my advantage a bit. So I put my 2 forces on either side like I've done before. So I've got Goblin King on one side, Spider Queen on the other, a couple of captains, Grinner, and things like that. So I've got 2 split forces. And then we marched up towards the 2 gaps. And then I marched Gollum and the King across. Because what he did is he brought Durin down this side, and he brought the King's Champion, and he'd added in Gwai here at his 800 points.
Nice.
So I picked Gwai here as my target to kill because I knew Gwai here was going to come YOLO into me somewhere. The King's Champion, very early on, was obviously his guy to protect because he put him right at the back line. He was on kind of sweep and clear duty of all my Goblin Scribe goblins. They just kept chucking around the back of his board. He just sent the King's Champion running around after them. So I was like, right, well, he's defending the King's Champion. I can't really do much about that unless the Spider Queen goes around after him. But what I did was I kept the Spider Queen and the bats next to Gwai here. And every time Gwai here charged something, the bats or the Spider Queen tried to come in on it as well. Just to keep kind of pounding at Gwai here. Plugged the 2 gaps. Goblin Mercenaries dropped in on my terrain piece. I chose the Goblin Mercenary Captain to defend because I'm going to put them in a terrain piece right out of the way. You can't really do much about it. And he didn't because he couldn't. This was lots of buildings as well. So they're on the roof of a building. There is stairs and a ladder up to that building, but I can just plug the gap with goblins and, it wasn't very wasn't very friendly, maybe, I don't know, but I just chucked him in the corner there. You're not going to deal with him. It's why you bring Goblin Mercenaries. So yeah, they were just going for Gwai here. And then I just, threw bats and spiders into Gwai here. Comes down to like the final turn. I know he's not got his terrain piece because I've got any models on my half of the table again. I've just plugged up that middle. He can't get anyone through. He hasn't killed a single one of my heroes, so he's not getting that. And then...
Have you killed Gwai here at this point?
Not yet. So we then go into combat with Gwai here. I've got a Spider Queen. I've got a Goblin Captain. I've got 2 Bat Swarms, all trapping Gwai here. The heroic struck, like, he's got a lower fight than me. I just need to win the fight. I win the fight. I take a couple of fate off Gwai here. We finish that turn. Time is called. All right. But he doesn't call time. He calls finished the round you're on. So we've just finished that round. So we go, one more round?
Yeah.
At this point, we're drawing. So we're like, well, let's see if anything interesting happens.
Is it 0-0 at this stage as well?
No, I've got my terrain piece and I've kept my guy alive. So I've got 6. I'm broken and he's kept his guy alive.
Right, gotcha.
So we're both on 6. So it's 6-6. Basically, it comes down to can we kill each other's thing? Is how we're going to get points. So I'm broken. Everything pretty much stays alive because the Goblin King wills it to be so. I passed all of my heroes' courage checks, apart from the Goblin Scribe, who's been sat in the back corner doing nothing the whole game, apart from spawning goblins and being generally irritating. We get loads of guys into Gwai here. So I've now got the Goblin King, the Spider Queen, and a Bat Swarm in Gwai here. They fail to kill Gwai here. I do like three or basically it's one more wound. One more wound and I'd have killed Gwai here. And the Goblin Scribe ran away to courage.
No, that was his target.
That was his target. So he ends up winning.
So many heroes on the table, and that's the one he picked. The one that's not going to be in combat. That's huge.
It was a very bold strategy.
Beautiful.
I think it looked like he was going to send Gwai here straight after the Scribe.
Right, okay.
But I just covered her with the Spider Queen and the Bat Swarm followed Gwai here wherever she went.
Mate, all his Christmases came at once when you failed that courage test.
Mate, I failed that courage test and he went, yes. And I was like, okay, right, good.
That's it. That's one.
So, yeah, it's one of those where we could have just gone, nah, you know what, let's sack this off. Or we could play it to the end and see what happens. Play one more turn. Goes out badly for me, but it could have gone really well for me.
Yeah.
But just play the game, you know?
No,
it's all right.
absolutely. And at that stage, what, either of you, you just want to see a result, don't you? You want to roll some more dice.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, we're not top table. Although it turns out, could have helped. But yeah. So I took a narrow loss in that one as well. I'll do Daniel's quickly just because it's here and then I can close it down. But his game 6 against Joel Anderson, who had Witch King, Kadoosh, Goroth, or Kardush, another like generic Wraith, and Shelob with loads of Wild Riders, and then a bunch of Orcs as well. So, I mean, I'm already, and that's a pretty spicy list. What's that doing down there? Scrapping around near the bottom somewhere. But yeah, it just absolutely, according to Daniel, just absolutely spanked him basically. The Wargs and Shelob just got around and ran off onto the train pieces. And then they just bullied his heroes. With Witch King and Goroth, just because Goroth's got that big donkey boy, any bunk. I don't know what's called, but yeah. So the Witch King just transfixed people. Goroth bonked on the heads. And yeah, one like that. So Daniel lost 7-0 on that one. Because again, dwarfs slow, couldn't get to train pieces, especially for a horde of orcs and stuff. But yeah, how did your game 6 go, Curtis?
So my game 6. So I'm on 1 win and 4 losses at this stage. But I play Russell Took. Really nice guy. I think there's entry for one of the best painted, and his Rohan list, which was Aemir's Legendary Legion, beautifully painted. So yeah, and we started the game. We were like, neither of us had done very well. That's why we're on this table. Let's just have a bit of fun. And it was a really good game. Really enjoyed it. He said he was trying to implement everything he'd learned from doing things wrong during the day. And I thought there's no better opportunity to do that. So I obviously tried to march up. We're on there's like a village board. It's got like a half a river going through it and a bridge over it. He's set his warband. He's got Aemir on the far left, and he's got Erkenbrand and Gandalf sort of facing me off. And I've obviously picked Erkenbrand as my hero to kill. I don't fancy taking on Gandalf, especially if he's just going to be like skirting around the back, blasting.
Gandalf is so hard to kill, man.
Yeah, he is, and like if someone's trying to protect him as well, it's really difficult. So yeah, Train Priest I go for as well. I just go for the one in the middle. I feel like if I'm going to fight him in the middle, there's like 3 buildings on his side. I was like, just go for the one in the middle. Don't even think about it. I made absolutely no feint into who I was going for. Literally, I managed to get up quite far, sort of tempted a charge from Erkenbrand's warband, and he duly comes in. And pretty much every turn, if I'm not transfixing him, I'm black darting him. Managed to get his will off, trying to resist the first transfix, and he failed. And then black dart managed to get rid of his black dart on his horse, managed to get rid of his fate. And then I was throwing guys in, couldn't kill him for ages, but I was doing enough. Damage to his troops. I got my dice were pretty hot in this game, and which was they hadn't been all tournament. And I felt sorry for Russell because whereas I felt like the part of the reason we were on the bottom tables is we hadn't had the most luck with dice all game, and it just seemed to continue for Russell. Every heroic move off, it was going my way. Every time like fight values drew, because of course he doesn't have his fight value buff, doesn't have dead, and so I'm matching him on fight 3 most of the time. He's losing those roll-offs as well. So I did feel sorry for him. But I eventually managed to get the troll into Erkenbrand on one of the late turns. Absolutely munch him. Kamal doesn't die on this one, but Kamal also does very little. I'm very hesitant to put Kamal in. Really nervous of Aemir. I don't push on Aemir. And Aemir's warband sort of sits back and tries to shoot me. And they get a couple of kills, but for every one he kills, I'm getting another one into the combats with Erkenbrand's warband, and perhaps that was his mistake, sort of splitting them up, and he never really had a good opportunity to call his, that special fight where I get -1s or something.
Yeah, he's got like the shade rule where you get -1 to your dual rolls.
Dual rolls for like 1 turn.
Yeah.
Every model that charged, the opponent gets the -1, and he never calls it all game, and I feel sorry because they just. I asked him about it first 2 turns, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to call it. I don't feel like this is the right charge." And there just never seems to be a right charge. He eventually gets Aemir in. Aemir never rolls more than 3 all game.
Oh, mate.
Like I don't do damage on him because I don't have many people in there. I'm shielding most of the time, but his heroic combats don't come off, so he can't come and save his other flank. He's putting Aemir and a bunch of guys in on a single guy, hoping to bounce off on a heroic combat. And it's just not coming off. So I did feel sorry for him in that stage. Eventually he throws Gandalf in. So his target is my Orc Captain, who he manages to like Sorcerous Blast off his Warg really early on, take his fate off of him. But then after that, Orc Captain gets like sort of bogged down. Manages to like heroic move off and charge into just regular riders and be protected by the guys around him. He eventually gets Gandalf as a last-ditch attempt to charge the Orc Captain. At this stage, I've got the numbers. And I surround Gandalf. This is the turn I get the troll into Erkenbrand, and I get Kamal finally into combat, and that's the turn it all goes south. I kill Erkenbrand with the troll. I kill Gandalf. Gandalf whiffs his roll, and he's run out of might because he's called heroic moves earlier in the game and lost those moves offs. And that's the turn I think I quarter him in that turn. I don't know if that's how it Fog of War ends. It's on a 1 or 2, isn't it?
It's on a 1 or 2.
Yeah. But yeah, it ended up being a 12 12-0 win for me. So after a tournament of just not doing well at all, I'm undefeated on 800 points.
Yeah, it's not
Nice. Good way to look at it.
Yeah, that is great. That is a great way to look at it.
And also,
it's
sorry, go on.
there you go, Lee.
Just say it's the first time all of you, both of you guys, describing games that you've mentioned dice. That either of you have mentioned dice.
Yeah, I don't think I can really blame dice during the tournament. I think every game I lost, I could pinpoint a mistake. Perhaps the only game I can mention dice is the one where they were probably going in my favor.
Yeah,
It's
and that's a
not.
really good thing to do.
Because on Breakthrough, I entirely blame dice.
Did you? Okay.
Just well, and on Fog of War. So the Spider Queen went into Imrahil and then completely whiffed that combat.
Of course,
with Imrahil completely out of might. He's been drained by Grinner. He's a sitting
the difference
duck.
is, you said just like whiff the combat. You weren't like, oh, my dice, my dice. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna happen.
And then failing to kill Guy here at the end there. When I had 6 dice, so I piercing striked with the Goblin King to put him on strength 6, and then he gets a +1 to wound because he's got 2 on a pick. So he is wounding Guy here on 4s and has 6 dice. Then there's the Spider Queen who's going to have 6 dice, wounding him on 5s, and support characters in there as well. And
I just said no whinging.
I'm not whinging though. I'm just saying that happened. And it's a dice game, isn't it? And it happens.
I'm just saying, like, that's a really good way to look at your games.
Yeah.
Is that it isn't always dice. You have these moments that don't go your way, but it's not the dice. I didn't lose because of the dice. I lost because this happened, and that's a good way to look at it.
Definitely.
What I was going to move on to was Curtis said at the end there. Obviously, you had a big 12-0 win at the end. Now, in a lot of events, finishing on a nice 12-0 win, it's great for your emotions, but for the event, it's not actually that. It's not important. Now, in this event, they used it weighted heavily on VP differential. So instead of being you win, you get 5 points, and then your VP differential is the tiebreaker. It starts off at 10 points if you draw, and then for every differential there is. So if you win by 5 points, you get another 5 points. You get 15.
Yeah.
If you lose by 5 points, you get 5. So winning 12-0 gets you 20 points.
Yeah, just absolutely catapulted me up. I was
whereas winning by 1 point gets you 11. So it's a bit winning by 1 point gets you 11, and losing by 1 point gets you 9.
It's interesting. You can win 6 games and get 66 points, and someone can only win 3 games, but just lose their games not as badly and get 6 points or 7 points from those other 3 losses, and they've finished ahead.
Or only win 2 games and get 75 points.
Yeah, all that.
So, we'll have a quick look at the total standings then, and just have a look at where we actually finished up. I've started at the bottom down here. So we have got Daniel Peacock is the lowest of us. I think he's down here at 42. So he got 1 win and 5 losses, but he got 54 points because most of his losses were quite tight throughout the tournament. Because you think it's out of a... Pardon?
He did a really good job of that.
Yes. Hang on. Let me do something else. Sorry. I can't. It's okay. I was going to share my screen, but I don't think I have screen sharing powers right now. That's all right. Maybe that'll turn up magically in a second. Who knows? So, Daniel did a really good job of keeping his losses tight. It's one of the nice things about dwarfs, but you're not giving up leave to kills very often, and it's quite hard to break you and things like that. And I did the opposite with Goblin Town, where my leader I didn't roll a single fate on the Goblin King. I don't think anyone rolled to wound him at any point during the entire tournament. And by being Goblin Town, I just had a bajillion models, so could aha.
You're thinking about something else while you're talking.
I was doing this. So by having Goblin Town, I had 50 bajillion models, so it meant that I was on the objectives. So even when I did lose, I was still holding a couple of objectives. So I got things. So here we are. Hopefully everyone should be able to see the standings here. Daniel there, he's got 42. He's 42nd. He's got 54 points off 1 win and 5 losses. We'll scroll up a little bit. So if they're in green, that's because they brought only a good list. If they're in red, they brought only an evil list. If they're in purple, they brought both. And if they're in yellow, they didn't finish the event for whatever reason. So we'll just go up here. So I think we're quite close, aren't we, Curtis? There we are.
There 1 point in it.
1 point in it. So yeah, Curtis finished 20th in the end, and I finished 19th. Curtis, it doesn't say on here, but how many win-losses do you have?
So I was on 2 wins and 4 losses. But you got to remember there was points for the most. If you got a most sporting vote, I think it was 5 points a vote.
That's a lot.
Because I yeah.
Okay, that explains it then. Because I was trying to work out why. Because when I did the math in my head, I didn't have as many points.
No. Yeah. So if you probably worked out a number of points, which was a multiple of 5 less than what you've got there.
It was. That's interesting. I can now work out from there. But cool. So yeah, it meant that we got some nice type votes. I mean, to be fair, if you were 2 wins and 4 losses and I was 2 wins, 1 draw, 1, we should be fairly close anyway.
Yeah.
But you can see there's like this nice lad here, Jake Robson, who's got 4 wins, but it's sat beneath the 2 of us on 2 wins.
Yeah, I feel sorry for Jake. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah,
I'd be raging. I would be raging.
You would imagine that his wins are fairly tight wins and his losses were pretty hefty. Whereas
they were. I think I remember him talking about. So Jake is a sort of a big name in the LWG, so know him quite well. He had a game against Jackie, who's somewhere on this list, and I think Jackie managed to just narrowly beat him in recon on a killing a Crabane or something in the last turn, or Jake narrowly beat him getting the Crabane off in the last turn. It was one of the two. So yeah, very tight.
So we're up at the top of the lists here. So yeah, like the same thing. You got this William St. John in here. He's got 3 wins and 2 losses, but managed to claw himself up into the top 10. One imagines again, his wins were massive and his losses were very, very tight. And he must have got quite a few sporting votes as well. That must have helped. But yeah, that was how this event was being scored.
I really like it as a form of scoring. I think it encourages all parts of the hobby, not just sort of the competitive side. You know, it's an 80-pointer, so it's not necessarily a super competitive 100-pointer. And the VP difference means getting points to the VP difference means there's always a reason to roll dice. So you can turn up to a table and be like, oh, I'm never going to win this. However, I can have fun. I can find myself some little victories, and maybe it can be a narrow loss, or I might even be able to get to sneak it.
It does very much encourage playing to the whistle, as it were. Like,
yeah.
There were a couple of games we had. There was one, I can't remember which one it was, but it might have been Recon, where it was done like from very early on. But he knew that if he kept going, he could get another couple, like he could get a point from this and a point from that, so it would close that gap. Brilliant. So he kept going.
And you can see just how impactful that is, just looking at the table. So yeah, I really like it.
Cool. What I've got though is we've got Dan Rhea won the event overall. So he's got 5 wins and a draw. I've got the lists, but we're going to put up in a second. But the other thing I wanted to mention is these red ones are all evil armies, and the green ones are all good armies. So you can see very clearly here that the vast majority of the top 10 are all using pure evil armies. Not sure why that is. Well,
so I think evil works better when you're escalating. So I think what we're seeing a lot in the game is that there is probably a dominance of elite good armies, also good armies that have a lot of shooting, but evil armies seem to work better when you're just adding small bits, because you can just adding 200 points means a lot more probably to a Mordor list who can add loads of orcs to that, or a goblin list who can add a troll and a load of goblins. It means more than maybe a fiefdoms list who's already got their toys at the lower points.
Yeah,
I would be inclined to disagree.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Sorry, you carry on.
No, sorry. What we said earlier, right? Swarms. So the way that a lot of these missions at the moment are made for really is big armies. More bodies you've got, the better you are. Like that's just like, I don't know percentage, but a lot of the missions you need more bodies rather than elite heroes or warriors. And what does that better than evil? Like they have the most bodies to bear, barring obviously like your lake towns and a couple of good armies. But there is a lot easier to get a lot more models for evil.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
And then also, go on, sorry,
at 400, 500 points in particular, there's a massive advantage by having lots of models. Yeah. We're seeing there's two trends we're seeing at the minute. Three lists that are popping up all the time. One of which is pure horde, which is just as many models you can possibly put on. You look at things like some of the top lists from Ardacon, and they're all running 40, 50 models at 600 points, which is an awful lot of models. You look at some of the Into the West lists, and they had an awful lot of models. However, there were also a couple of Into the West lists that relied massively on one huge hero.
Yeah.
Which does seem to work really nicely at low points, but as you start to get up to 800 points, it doesn't work as nicely because other armies start to get in ways to deal with evil.
Yeah.
So this is where I see the good lists struggling with escalation, because you've got Imrahil and a load of warriors. They're wrecking base at 400 points, but at 800 points, suddenly they might have a troll to deal with, as well as some magic, as well as a whole horde to face them.
I feel like magic is the key thing, because the good armies know that they have to spam more. They're not bringing their big heroes, or if they are, they're bringing one big hero and then captains or small fortitude heroes, which just get eaten up by evil.
Yeah, I wonder if at the 200 point increases, psychologically people are like in their good lists, what can I can't add any toys at 200. It's just not enough points to bring in.
You can't just drop in like Gandalf.
You can't drop in.
I think you can, but it's literally just Gandalf.
It's literally just Gandalf. Or even if you drop in a hero who's over 100 points, you're not getting many guys with him.
And with the rules, you couldn't take heroes back out again. So if you did want to go like one big hero at 400, you'd lost. So a lot of the legendary legions like Helm's Guard and Faer's Guard and things like that have been quite popular at low points don't scale because you're stuck with like a weird mix of heroes.
Yeah.
But by the by, it'll be interesting to watch if that's a trend or not that keeps on. The other thing is that you were guaranteed to always only play good versus evil.
Yes, they did the matchup, so that was the case.
Which raises another question. If you look at this, where you think, so in that final game, did you have Dan Rea, who's top, playing Callum Edens, who's 8th, or was he playing Rome, who's 4th? And like you end up with some kind of interesting options there where you might end up with someone who's quite high up on the table with an evil list playing someone who's somewhere in the middle with a good list. Which is my final game, I'm 19th here. I was playing Alex May, who's all the way down in 43rd.
And you lost to him in that last game?
I lost to him. So he would have gone up higher.
Which is dumb as well, because you said earlier on, right, that the last round you can play somebody you've already played before because the standings you'll be closer, which completely contradicts forcing the good versus the evil, because like you said, you're going to have first place playing 12th or something.
Was it an accident that you were playing Alex?
That's who I was drawn against.
But so do you know how, because Sam was always saying, if you're drawn against someone you've already played, just come to me and we'll try and change it. Did you do that?
For the last game, that's a write-off.
Ah, okay, fair.
But yeah, that's not a like criticism, because obviously you can then add on the most sporting points and things like that if that factors into it, and it might bump us up a nice bit. But it's just like it can skew up a little bit. I think I'd have liked for game 6 if you're playing the same person twice to maybe a bigger. I don't know. It's just one of the things. It adds a lot more extra work for the TO as well. He might have complicated itself a little bit for him. But having said that, it's only an 80-pointer, and it was really fun because you're always playing good versus evil. So,
yeah. How does that work? How does that work logistically though? If you don't have the same amount of good and evil?
I don't know. Ask Sam. So real quickly, just because I know we've been talking for a while, I just want to have a very quick look at top.
Am I
lists.
back?
Yeah. Did you go?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I lost. I got kicked out, but I'm back in.
Oh, okay. I didn't even notice.
Thanks.
Yeah, real quickly, I'll just have a quick look through the top 3 lists, if we can, like real quick. So we got Stuart Lidbetter came in 3rd. Lidbetter, I don't know, is that right?
Yeah.
So I have his list here. So he is running Corsairs. So at 400 points, you've got Dalamir as his leader, 3 Arbalisters, 4 Corsairs with shields, 7 with spears. And then Delgamar, 3 Arbalisters, 4 Corsairs with shields, 6 Corsairs with spears, and 1 Corsair with nothing, which you can only assume is because of the points. It's Corsairs, man. Corsairs are really good.
Yeah, they're good. Enough
Don't have anything else to say about that.
Yeah,
Corsairs are really good.
Throwing
Unless it's me using them, in which case they're really bad.
Crossbows were huge in a lot of these scenarios, I think, as well. Being able to have that sort of ball control with crossbows.
Yeah, I mean, what's that? 400 points? 7, 14, 15, 22, 30, 31 models at 400 points.
Yeah, there you go. See?
Yeah, it's massive.
Almost as many as I had at Goblin Town.
And what? Pretty much every single one has got a throwing weapon?
They've all got throwing weapons, them, yeah. Or a crossbow.
Ridiculous.
So, yeah, mad. 600 points, he's added in a captain crossbow and then just a bunch more dudes. And at 800 points, he has added in Suladan on an armored horse with some Watchers of Kana with twin blades, and then Haradrim raiders with bows and war spears, and a couple of Haradrim raiders with bows. So, yeah, drop in a couple of cav into the Corsairs. It's their one weakness, Death cav. Chuck some cav in there. Have a great time.
Yeah.
I have absolutely nothing to say rotten about this list.
No, it's really nice. Really high model count. He's got a banner from Suladan as well.
Maybe Watchers of Kana with bows and Serpent Riders rather. Because Fight 4 cav better.
If it's good, maybe he might have been expecting more Army of the Dead.
Yeah. Well, but then 3 Watchers of Kana are going to do F all about that, to be honest. But yeah, I get it. Cool. That's Stuart's list. It's a lot of Corsairs. Corsairs are really good, unless I'm using them.
I've never used them. I don't know.
What's that?
I've never used them.
Have you not? They're really good, unless I take them into the West, and then they're really bad. So the next list we've got here is Aaron Pullen. Aaron Pullen came in 2nd. He is using, as you can probably see, the Assault on Helm's Deep Legendary Legion.
Actually can't see.
Can you not?
No.
It says I'm sharing the screen. Oh, you're on your phone, aren't you?
Yeah.
No, you're still on the league table.
Am I?
Yeah.
Okay. Bear with. What about now?
Now we can see it.
Okay, cool. Right. Could have said that last time, and I was like, oh, you can see it there.
I mean, I'm painting, so you know.
Yeah, fair. Cool. You start on Helm's Deep Legendary Legion. I'm getting messages telling me off now from the chat. So he's got captain with his shields. He's the leader guy, so he's got 3 might and 3 attacks. You've got a banner with pike, 11 Uruks with pikes, 4 Uruks with shields, 2 Uruk crossbows, a ballista, and a captain.
This was quite a common list, I think, at the tournament. I think there was a few Assault on Helm's Deep knocking about.
I saw a couple. I wouldn't say. I think I saw 2.
Oh, I knew there was at least 3 there, but James, who was running it, he was the what do you call it when someone is a spare player?
Oh, ringer.
Yeah, he was the ringer, so he only played on the first day. So
was the ringer using like multiple ballistas at an assault on Helm's Deep?
No, I think he had a ballista and a bomb.
Oh god, that's a dirty ringer. So yeah, assault on Helm's Deep. I mean, it's got that mega ballista. Pretty sure I was on a table next to this at 400 points. He was playing against Boris, and Boris took Imrahil took a ballista shot to the face like turn 1 and just died basically. And I was like, well, that's gross.
Yeah.
It's what I would take. It's good.
Yeah, it's just, and you've got a load of pikes so that no matter what angle you get hit from, you've got.
He's not worried about the shield, so he's happy with the wounding on 5s with the defense 5.
Well, most of the time, you're against strength 4. You always seem to be, right? So
yeah, okay.
So you could say that this is looking at it and going, maybe it's not thinking about good versus evil, because if you're playing against good, a lot of good is strength 3.
Yeah.
True.
So you could go, well, actually, the shields could be really key in that good versus evil matchup.
It's not bothered him though to finish second place.
Yeah, exactly. Those more than we do.
I have no doubt.
So 600 points. You got basically the same again, just with another ballista, and you've given that captain some friends to hang out with. So now you're rocking double ballistas. No, it was this point that you were playing against Imrahil, wasn't he? Because 2 ballistas. It's gross.
Yeah,
double
really
ballistas doing double ballista things.
When you can re-roll your scatter roll and your hit roll, and then have a might point to hit that hero, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like siege weapons just because
I
it
love
is. But...
You would. Yeah, it's one of those. If you think about like what we were talking about the meta a second ago, and how you get these lists with just one massive hero in them, especially at lower points. So if you turn up against Helm's Guard, you just look across the table, see Helm Hammerhand, and just going, "Here's a blister to your face, bye." And a lot of the lists that we were talking about, you're seeing these one big heroes, and it plays the VP fit game really nicely as well, because you can just go, right, well, I'm going to get a leader kill, or I'm very likely to break you with a couple of big ballista shots and a whole bunch of crossbows, and then I can worry about the objectives, but I'm picking up those extra couple of VPs.
Yeah, it's really
make people play bad.
What was that? You both?
What did you say, Lee? You go.
No, I was just briefly, like, ballistas make people play bad and makes them make bad decisions.
Yeah, they
terrifies people, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But Urukai's strong anyway. He's got fight 4 across the board. That leader Urukai with its 3 attacks and 3 wounds, strength 5, he's an absolute monster. Like, king of heroic combats. You know, as long as he can keep away from other striking heroes, he can just absolutely slew.
That's the big thing, isn't it? Like, someone big with heroic strike is going to come in and mess you up.
Yeah.
But that's what the ballistas and the crossbows are there for.
Yeah.
If you're letting that hero get to your lines, you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go, like, very, very soon.
Okay. Got a couple of minutes?
Yeah, rapid.
All right. So 800 points. It's just more of the same. He's now got a bomb squad, basically.
Because why not?
Yeah, why not? 2 ballistas and a bomb. Does the job, doesn't it? Quickly we'll go on to Danria's list then. So Danria won the event. He's using Angmar. Angmar are dead good. His list is sideways, so you won't be able to see it. But basically, I'll read his 800 point list out because it's gross. He's got Burda. Burda's got 8 Angmar orcs in there, 4 with shields, 4 with spears. He's got a Deadmarsh Spectre in there. He's then got a Barrow White, 8 Angmar orcs, 4 with shields, 4 with spears, and a Spectre. He's got an Angmar orc captain, 8 Angmar orcs, 4 with shields, 4 with spears. He's got a Witch King on Fell Beast with the crown and the Morgul blade. And then he's got a Shade with 4 Orcs of Shield, 4 Orcs of Spear, 1 Banner, and 2 Warg Riders.
I love it.
Yes.
I think it's got a lovely balance between board control with the magic and the Barrow-wights paralyzed. It's got brute force with Burder. Kamul can do that job as well, certainly with the crown. But I mean, that re-rolling for the spells is just absolutely insane. It's got a lovely model count with the amount of orcs in there, causing terror when they're near sort of the Barrow-wight and the Witch King. So yeah, no, I think it's a really, really well balanced list.
It's just solid, isn't it? There's nothing wrong with it.
Just super solid. Yeah. I mean, we love Angmar. We all know how good Angmar can be.
Yeah.
If used correctly, they are most definitely one of the strongest lists in the game.
Definitely. It needs a good pilot, but I mean, clearly Dan Rea is a good pilot. He's managed.
It does. It does need a good pilot. It's not easy to win with. You've got to know the tricks and you've got to do the tricks well.
Yeah.
But even then, the tricks are very good that you've got a lot of redundancy. So if one doesn't work, the other one will.
Yes, certainly at 800 points.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then the very final thing, Lee, if you can, and this is the thing I'm most looking forward to hearing your thoughts on, is the best painted armies.
Oh yeah.
So in this one we had you could enter. If you brought 2 armies, you could enter both armies. So they had a best painted good and a best painted evil category.
I like that.
So this here is the winner of the best painted good army. I don't know how good a picture is here. As you can see, all my other things around it. So you've got Lothlorien, Gladiowood. There is a really nice water effect in the actual mirror. He's used the liquid resin and stuff.
I think it's gorgeous. The autumnal theme, the metal Haldir's elves. Really, really nice.
That's nice. It's autumn bases are like one of the big things it seems to be at the moment. Like old snowy bases used to make everything look better. I feel like the autumn bases now just make everything pop and it just makes things look really nice. You can't go wrong with it, I don't think. I like the Haldir's elves, I think, more than I like Celeborn there, I think.
Yes, I mean, there's not an awful lot you can do with Celeborn. It's a very bland model.
And the hair on Galadriel is really good.
But he's made him ever so elegant, and that balance between sort of the creams and the whites.
Yeah. He's got the nice. It's not like a really strong gold on the warriors either.
Yeah.
It's really muted
with the base.
Yeah, the cloak like really nicely blends in with the leaf litter and stuff on the base. It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's really good. And Scott. So this is Scott Whitefoot's army. Scott does beautiful cloth work.
Yeah.
It's just it just looks like clothes. That's the best compliment I think I can give it. Yeah. Evil army, best painted. Very far zoomed out. But this Harrod army here ended up winning the best painted evil army. That
to me, I think if like you were putting them both together, like anyone can win. I think this would win. Like you've got freehand there on the back of the horse cloak.
Yeah, this bit here.
And you've just got the different color that you don't normally see, like that cream color. Man, that looks incredible.
It's a gorgeous theme as an army. I think he's absolutely nailed the.
I think you can see it now on the base as well. But he had like some terracotta brickwork that he's hand done onto the bases.
Wow.
I think any army can win best painted, right? When you put it all together,
and then
makes a difference.
These chaps over here are converted as well.
Oh, nice bonus points.
Yeah, bonus points for conversions. So I think this is a chieftain, but he's normally got a serpent rider model, I think, base. So you can see the base model behind it there off to the left.
Oh wow!
So he's got a new head swap on there, and this chap is based on, I think it's the guy who stands on top of the Murk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that chieftain model with the like eagle head.
Yeah,
it's very nice.
Yeah,
just the colours.
So this is actually the same guy.
Is it?
Yes. both lists are Scott Whitefoot's.
That's
And
really
you can
cool.
see he's got Danimir creeping in the back here. Again, you can see on the back of his cloak, he's got this beautiful little flame work going on.
Yeah.
So it's all nicely free work. He does also have a display board for this model, this army,
Right.
which is gorgeous.
Yeah, that's
So
done its rounds on the GBHL group, and it's just absolutely stunning.
Oh, it's beautiful. So he's got he's built up a Harrod city, basically. It's multi-tiered, everything fits perfectly into it. The color schemes all flow nicely, so that all the cloth in the city is the same cloth work.
Nice.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's what Scott does, really, isn't it? Beautiful.
I'm gonna have to go, guys. Sorry, guys.
That's right. I think we're about to wrap it up there anyway.
I will catch you in a bit, guys. Bye, Curtis.
Okay.
Bye.
See ya.
Thanks for sticking with us. It's obviously it's been a while. How do I on share screen? Oh, stop share. That's the I'm dead good. We've obviously gone on a little while. Blooming heck, we have, haven't we?
Edit it down, get rid of all the crap.
No, and I refuse to do any editing work. Thank you very much. No, but yeah, thank you for sticking with us, guys. As always, if you do like these kind of videos, do let us know and let us share your thoughts. Curtis, are you heading out to any events soon?
I think I'm not going to any more GBHL events. The next events I'm off to, we've got in the LWG, we've got a doubles and beers night next Wednesday. And then we've also got the LWG MESBG Championship 2021, which we're having around Christmas time. So we're all looking forward to that.
Curtis, you've said the phrase LWG several times and not said what it is.
I have the London Wargamers Guild.
And if someone was watching this who happens to live in London, how can they find you?
If you're interested and if you want to roll some dice, the LWG pretty much does every system going, but the MESBG community is growing. There is a WhatsApp, and if you are interested in getting involved, just sort of get in touch on this video, and we'll try and send you a link. You can also find us on Meetup. That's usually where we host all our events. And in there, once you signed up to that and you're part of the LWG, you'll be able to find all of our events, including open gaming nights that we have on Mondays and Wednesdays at local clubs in London, and also to our any upcoming tournaments that we're having locally. So yeah, the more the merrier. The scene really is growing in London. It's really active, particularly for MESBG.
Nice, good, cool. We like that. And obviously for us, we should have more updates on our venue soon. So keep an eye out on that. But that's about everything from us. If you want to hear more, I'm going to Lord of the Imps, which is in like a week. Because I'm on holiday and it happens to be next door, so going there.
Ideal. What sort of list are you taking to that?
I didn't realize I was going until about 2 days ago, so I've thrown together a list very quickly. So it's 700 points. Your leader dies after day one, so him and his warband go, and you have to replace him. But someone who was in your list before has to become leader, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So what I've done is I've taken Theoden and Dernhelm with every Rohan model I have. So 6 Royal Guard with throwing spears on horses, a whole bunch of riders with throwing spears, and a couple of riders without throwing spears, and 2 outriders, I think, and Aragorn King Alessar. Now Aragorn and Theoden are both heroes and legends.
Yep.
So in my head, this is Theoden and Dernhelm coming to rescue Minas Tirith.
Yep.
Obviously Aragorn shouldn't be a lesser, but you know,
it worked better for the alliance.
I did it. I had Aragorn on a horse, and I had a banner in the Rohan list, and I looked at it, it was like, for the same points, I could just have Aragorn be a lesser and have a 6-inch banner.
Yeah.
So I've done that instead. So Theoden dies, his warband goes, but as in the books, Theoden dies, big angry Eomer rocks up.
Nice.
brings in his warband. He's got his blind rage. He's going to go ham. He's going to kill a load of people. So officially, he won't have that special rule active because Ferdin's not actually died. However, I'm going to play it as if he has, just without getting the bonuses from it. So he's just going to go around charging people in a blind rage, because it'll be fun.
Yeah, I think that'd be sick. I think that'd be good fun. It's got a nice bit of theme to it. Yeah, good luck to you. Love to know.
Really strongly debated bringing Goblin Town because it's still in the van. Then remembered that the Goblin King would die, and I'd have to bring pure Goblin Town at that point because there's no Hero of Valor to ally.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So I would have to bring 700 points of pure Goblin Town without the Goblin King.
Yeah. Good luck.
Which I put in every single Goblin model I owned. I was still a couple of points short.
Plus, you got to think about the scribe.
It was like 100 and something models before the scribe. So I figured that's not going to be fun for me or my opponent. Because 2 hour games, 100 something models, nothing's actually going to get done. So I pivot into this list here. I think it's fun, and it's got Aragorn or Lesser, which I've had the model for 15, 20 years. Never really used him once because he's so many points and he's just so expensive, and I'm slightly terrified, but it's going to be fun. So if you are there, give us a shout, and we'll hang out. We're nice people, I promise. But otherwise, yeah, thank you for hanging around with us. Thank you for staying with us so long. Sorry it was a little bit delayed coming up, but yeah, we'll do better next time, maybe. Thank you, Sam, for running a glorious event. It's a shame there was all those 40k people there, basically. You know, and some of them even tried to come and play Middle Earth. Yeah, some words can be said about that, but that's for another story. But yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed my time there. I had a good fun and did surprisingly all right. So that was nice.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Fantastic event. It was the first one I signed up for when I got back into the hobby in January, so it felt like it was a long time coming, and it was really, really good. Really enjoyed it. And
don't forget, if you are watching this video and you have enjoyed sticking with us, please do like and subscribe to the channel.
Comment and subscribe.
Yes. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.